I'm going to step off the limb now. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
2019 marks the 50th anniversary of the Apollo 11 lunar landing. As we celebrate this historic achievement, we also look forward to the future of space exploration. This year promises to be filled with new milestones as we launch more people on more spacecraft to more destinations than ever before. The International Space Station is the centerpiece of space research and a hub of activity. The ISS celebrated a milestone in 2018, the 20th anniversary of the first element launch aboard a Russian Proton rocket in November 1998. Today, crews regularly visit and work on the station. 2019 marks the 19th year of continuous habitation of ISS. In the last 12 months, 4 crews have been launched to the outpost. In the world of spaceflight, we learn from both successes and failures. In October, a seemingly routine launch of a Russian Soyuz spacecraft experienced a launch abort when a strap-on booster separated abnormally during ascent, colliding with the main rocket. The vehicle's escape system pulled U.S. astronaut Nick Hague and Russian cosmonaut Alexei Ovchinin safely away from danger. And after a ballistic landing, they were recovered by search and rescue teams. Both crew members launched successfully in March and are currently aboard station as part of Expedition 59. In addition to the crewed Soyuz arrivals and departures, several uncrewed agency and commercial flights delivered and returned cargo, supplies, and experiments to the station. The Russian Progress supply vehicle visited the station twice during the year. Northrop Grumman twice launched the enhanced Cygnus cargo resupply spacecraft to the ISS, the SS J.R. Thompson and the SS John Young. SpaceX launched 3 successful cargo missions on their Falcon 9 rocket and Dragon spacecraft over the last 12 months. NASA's Commercial Crew Program is on track to begin launching astronauts to station this year, marking the first time crews will launch from American soil since the end of the Space Shuttle program in 2011. In August, NASA introduced the first group of astronauts selected to fly aboard the SpaceX Crew Dragon and Boeing Starliner capsules. In March, SpaceX successfully launched its Crew Dragon test vehicle aboard a Falcon 9 rocket. Dragon docked with ISS the following day.
These amazing feats show us not how easy our mission is, but how capable we are of doing hard things. Welcome to the new era in spaceflight.
Assembly of Boeing CST-100 Starliner continues at the former Orbiter Processing Facility 3 at the Kennedy Space Center. Starliner's orbital test flight is scheduled for later this year. Other commercial organizations saw an increase of activity in 2018. Rocket Lab conducted 2 launches within a 5-week period. One of the customers was NASA, which flew a CubeSat experiment. In January, NanoRacks successfully completed the 15th CubeSat deployment from the company's commercially developed platform on ISS. In February, the company completed its 6th CubeSat deployment from Northrop Grumman's SS John Young Cygnus spacecraft. Blue Origin continues to conduct flights of its new Shepard launch system, a fully reusable suborbital rocket designed for flying humans and research and technology payloads to space. Blue Origin will apply the learnings from the new Shepard flight test program directly into their orbital vehicle, New Glenn. The upper stage of New Glenn is powered by a variant of the BE-3 engine that powers New Shepard. Virgin Galactic's Spaceship Two successfully conducted its 4th and 5th launches to the edge of space. These test flights put the company closer to its goal of potentially flying passengers to space later this year. As commercial entities increasingly operate in low Earth orbit, NASA will lead expeditions away from Earth and into our solar system. In April of 2018, Jim Bridenstine was sworn in as NASA's 13th administrator. The new administrator has clarified NASA's direction: return to the Moon, create a gateway in lunar orbit as a home base of operations, build infrastructure on the lunar surface, utilize international and commercial partners for lunar missions, and, building on this foundation, send humans to Mars. Progress on the Orion program continues at the Kennedy Space Center with processing of the Orion flight vehicle for Exploration Mission 1, an uncrewed flight beyond the Moon. The spacecraft's service module, constructed by the European Space Agency, was delivered to KSC in November. A second Orion capsule was constructed at the Michoud Assembly Facility in Louisiana and shipped to KSC for the follow-on mission, Exploration Mission 2, which will carry astronauts around the Moon and back to Earth. Orion parachute tests concluded this year, giving engineers the data they needed and proving the braking system for Orion's speedy return through the Earth's atmosphere. Construction of the Space Launch System, NASA's powerful new heavy-lift launch vehicle, is well underway. Several SLS components were completed and delivered to KSC during the last year. And with all of the major components for the first flight in production, the massive rocket's engines were test-fired several times at NASA's Stennis Space Center. At the Kennedy Space Center, exploration ground systems have made huge strides in the construction of the mobile launcher for SLS. New water suppression equipment will keep the heat and vibration of launch manageable. Ground operations also take place at sea, where crews tested techniques and equipment for rescue and recovery of astronauts and the Orion spacecraft upon splashdown. China's Chang'e 4 mission landed on the far side of the Moon, and its rover, the Yutu-2, is exploring the surface and collecting data. Japan's Hayabusa 2 spacecraft rendezvoused with the asteroid Ryugu in 2018. In February, the spacecraft touched down briefly and fired a small projectile into the surface in order to capture sample material. Once the samples were collected, the spacecraft backed away from the asteroid. These new and ongoing robotic missions into space go where no people have gone before and have expanded our knowledge of the solar system. In 2003, two rovers, Spirit and Opportunity, landed on Mars and began making unprecedented scientific discoveries. Spirit ended its mission in 2010. After a planet-wide dust storm on Mars in 2018, Opportunity also ceased to communicate with Earth in February of this year. NASA's Mars InSight spacecraft landed on the Red Planet in November of 2018. Other Mars probes have studied the surface of Mars, but InSight's main goal is to study the inside of Mars, the seismology, heat flow, and movement of the planet. The New Horizons probe, which previously explored the dwarf planet Pluto and a region called the Kuiper Belt, flew by the celestial object known as Ultima Thule, some 4.1 billion miles from Earth and 1 million miles from Pluto. NASA's Parker Solar Probe, launched in August of 2018, started its investigations of the Sun. The probe is designed to help scientists understand how solar particles pick up speed as they move away from the Sun, and why the Sun's corona is hotter than its actual surface. Launched in April of 2018, NASA's Transiting Exoplanet Survey Satellite, or TESS, searches the sky for exoplanets, Earth-sized planets or larger, which orbit a sun other than our own. Tonight, as robotic explorers probe the farthest reaches of our solar system, and human explorers conduct research and science just 300 miles above the surface of our planet, we pause to recognize and honor a visionary leader for his courage and commitment to reaching our goals in space. And we celebrate the accomplishments of those dedicated men and women who dare to push the boundaries of space exploration, whose contributions have paved the way for the generations to follow, turning our dreams to destiny. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your Master of Ceremonies, Morgan Brennan.